Okay, Bitcoin's done a massive move recently. Let's see what happened. Let's analyze the charts and let's see what trades we might have been able to enter. This has been a very, very bullish day for all of us, which is amazing. All right, so we won't waste any time today. We're going to get straight into it. I haven't got a crazy amount of time for today's stream, but let's see what were we looking at yesterday. So as of yesterday, I clearly said, right, we've got this clear trinity distribution coming up. It can either be a trinity distribution number 1 or it could be a number 2. So I said, I'm watching this local accumulation. Should we continue down, blah, 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 we can do some stuff over there. But it didn't. And then I said, remember, no change, no trade. All right. So what were we looking at? We said this is tap number 1, tap number 2, and we could potentially come down for tap number 3, which would be amazing because we will tag this demand underneath. However, if we do start to break structure bullishly here, i.e. we close above this level, so we clearly said close above me, then we can talk. What do I mean by we can talk? That means we can wait for that retracement, i.e. that retracement there, and we can enter that long. So let's see what happened. Let's see if that was a good trade for all of us, and let's play that through. And bang, that was mad. That was mental. So you guys are probably thinking, right, did we actually get confirmation? For those of you who enter that trade, big congratulations. And this is great because this week we're 2 for 2, which is nice, back to back as well. So this is a juicy one. So let's see, did we get a confirmation? I'm in that trade. I'm still in that trade and I'm riding that one. I've actually taken 75% off. Just to show you that trade quickly. So on the Discord, if you do want to join the Discord, the link's in the bio. Obviously don't forget to follow, subscribe, all that stuff. But on the Discord we can see as of today at 7:34 we are 300% up, which is a nice 3R. So that's beautiful. So we had a short from 2 days ago or yesterday. That was 83%, and then we've got this one at 300%. So that's on a profitable. Obviously we've got Discord, we've got everyone in here looking at these trades. So if you do want to get access to this, it's free, completely free. So just hit that join button and then you can get access to all of this as well. All right, so let's see what happened. Did we get a confirmation? That's the question. Did we get that retest essentially? Was this a clear play for us to enter, or did it just fly off? We don't like it when it flies off, but did it fly off? So we're going to take a look at this. We're going to look at this perhaps on a 5 minute. All right, so what does the structure say right now? So as of now, we have our clear range. So that was the initial range, obviously, and then we made this new low. So we dragged that over here. That becomes a new range. Our range high becomes over here, and then we were around here, and this is where we said, right, we're looking for that bullish transition up. Now, what does that bullish transition look like? Well, look at the bear leg. We've got lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, which means in order for us to have that transition in market structure, this last lower high is what needs to go. This guy over here. We need to lose this guy or close above that guy before we get into that trade. All right, let's see what happened. Well, price came up, bang. Price closed above the high. So at that point, what I actually did was I marketed in. I marketed in because I thought, well, do you know what? If I market in, it's okay, because if I do market in, I just have to put my stop loss below, obviously, the range low over here. Okay, so my stop loss still has to go underneath there. All right. Now let's see what happens. So after that, price went up. The price tried to retest that old range, but it didn't quite get there. But it carried on. I'm going to put this in black because black's nicer. And then we start going up. So what are we waiting for now? For those of you who follow the channel, we're waiting to see, do we get a retracement back into zone? Very, very simple. Do we get a retracement back into zone? We're waiting. We still haven't got a retracement back into zone. Now we've got a retracement back into zone, and that is the retracement back into zone. It just kissed that zone, simply kissed the zone, didn't really go deep into the zone, but it did retest that zone. You can't say it didn't. It retested the zone. And what happened after that retest? Look at that aggressive bull bar, boom. All right. So for those of you looking for that trade, for that retest, you could have entered that trade right about there. All right. Could have entered that one over there. All right. Of course, I entered a trade somewhere around here. I entered off of the break, which I wouldn't usually recommend, because entering off a break, you get less favorable risk to reward. So it's better for you to wait for that retracement, that pullback before you enter. Where do you need to cover? Well, you need to cover at least this low. But really and truly, technically, you probably should cover that low. Okay? Just to be on the safe side, you probably should cover that low. So as of now, the risk to reward on this looks horrible. All right? But what did Bitcoin do? Bitcoin is very nice, very kind. It created another. It rallied sideways for a bit. And then what it did is it said, do you know what? I'm going to give you slightly better risk to reward. I'm going to give you slightly better risk to reward, i.e., I'm going to come a little bit deeper into that zone to give and reward the patient traders out there. So if you were patient and you were waiting for that nicer risk to reward, you did get it. You got it right there. And that would have been where you said, right, cool, I'm good with this. I'm going to enter there. So we're going to compare the risk to reward, all right, for the patient trader and the not so patient trader. All right. So anyway, so price then says, you know what? I've had enough. I've had enough of this zone. Trinity models confirmed. We're at demand. All right. We're off to the races. We're heading up. So that's exactly what price did. Price started rallying up. It continued up. And at this point, what am I waiting for? Well, first of all, I'm looking at this trend to see, are we going to change in market structure or are we going to continue going up? Well, have we had a change in market structure? No, I do not think so. Instead, we've had a clear trend of higher highs and higher lows right from the bottom all the way up. In fact, not only did we have that, in fact, we broke through that range. All right, so we broke out of that range. Did we get a retest back into that range? Let's take a look. Aha, yes, we did. So we did get a retest back into that range. So for those of you who are watching the charts who were thinking, right, well, I missed the entry over here, I missed the entry over there, all you had to do was wait for the actual range to break, okay, and look to enter in that retest. So trade number three would have been along from that retest zone over there. So you can't tell me that was not a simple one. That was a very, very easy one to catch. All right. And congrats, big congrats for those of you who caught that one. Absolutely well done. All right. But now the thing is, all right, that was a risky one. Why was it a little bit more risky? It was risky because we had this 2-hour zone over here. We had this 2-hour supply zone, which we were waiting for. If we take a look at the signal, we did say that as a potential POI. All right. But what do we wait for in our POIs? We'll wait for confirmations. Are we going to enter a trade if we get no confirmations? No. Are we going to stick to our trade until we get a change in direction, a break in market structure? Yes. All right. Did we get a change in market structure here? No. Should we have stuck into our trade? Yes. All right. So anyway, so that carried on. So you could have entered a trade number 1. You could have entered a trade there at number 2. Could have entered a trade there at number 3. Very, very, very simple trade, that one. All right. So what we're going to do now is we're going to compare the risk to reward for all those 3 different traders. All right. And we're going to see, how well they did. Okay. So I'm still in that trade. I've taken 75% out. I've moved my stop loss to entry. And I'm letting the remaining 25% run. All right. So I'm basically playing with house money at the moment. It's not my money anymore. And that's how I like to trade. All right. So let's look at the risk to reward. Well, for this guy, this is a trade. Oh, let me just check my entry actually. Let me double check. All right. So my entry was 61,618. 61,618. Let's get that exact. So 61,000. A bit higher than actually. Yeah. So my entry was about there. Okay. So if you entered where I entered a trade, all right, which was off of the break, and considering you covered that low, you would have had a risk reward of 6.31. That means if you risked 1% of your account, you would have made 6.31% back. All right. And if you risked, let's say you risked about $5,000, you'd have made about $30,000 off of that trade. All right, which is a pretty good day in the office. All right. All right. Let's see if you had waited for that first retest. Your risk to reward on that one was 11.69. What does that mean? That means if you risked $5,000 or £5,000 on that, you would have got about $55,000 and £55,000 on that one. Okay, so we did get better risk to reward on that, and that's exactly why we wait for that pullback to zone. Okay, it gives us the better risk reward. Now, if you were the most patient trader of them all, the skeptic, the one that said, you know what, I'm gonna wait for the range to break, wait for that retracement, even though I've got 2 hour supply over there, I'm gonna get in there. Why? Because we broke through the supply, we didn't get a reaction of the supply. All right. Actually, I tell a lie. We did get a reaction. However, we did break quite deep into the supply. We did get a change in market structure into the supply. All right, so that was a risky one. That was a very risky one. Let's just take a look quickly on the 15-minute. Okay, there we go. So on the 15-minute, that would have been invalidated. So we did get, a higher high, higher low. All right, a higher high. All right. But this is on the 15-minute is just another higher low for a continuation up. So even though on a 10-minute, it looks like a change in market structure. So as we can see here on the 10-minute, we would have had, okay, let's look at it on the 10-minute. We would have had a higher high, higher low, higher high, break-in structure, expecting a retrace for the further continuation down. If you were looking at your time frame on your 15-minute, you'd realize, nope, that was simply one shot up, one shot down, and continuation. All right. So this is why it's really important to do multi-time frame analysis and make sure you're going through all your time frames. All right. So let's take a look. Trader number 3, the most patient of them all. All right. What was his risk reward saying? Well, his risk reward was meager 2.76. All right. So the ultimate patient wasn't rewarded here. Well, it was rewarded, but not as much as these guys. All right, 2.76. If he risked about maybe $5,000 on that trade, he would have netted maybe just above. What's $5,000 times 2.76? I don't know the exact amount, but above maybe about 12, 13 grand. Okay, so not the worst. Still something, right? Still something. But this is a clear example of why the best traders are the most patient traders. The best traders are the ones that wait for their zones. They're not in a rush when they see a break in structure. They wait for that pullback, wait for that retracement before you enter. Honestly, if you make that one of your rules, you will be way more profitable, instead of saying, do you know what, whenever I see a break or close above, I'm going to go in. Now, even though that's what I did here, because I was quite sure of this move, I would always suggest wait for that pullback. Now, will that pullback always happen? No, it won't. It will not always happen, all right? But when it does, you will be rewarded, okay? So that's it. So I'm still in that trader waiting to see how that goes. Don't forget, if you want to get involved and, have some help in terms of, lessons, in terms of boot camp, we've got boot camp on the last Sunday of each month. So feel free to go on the website and get registered for that. All right, so what is Bitcoin looking to do next? What's the price action saying? Like, this was a massive move. This was a juicy move. I like that one. That was a nice move. Nice, what is it, Wednesday? Nice midweek move that we like. I was thinking, right, we were building some liquidity as we headed towards that zone. So could we have swept it and rallied down? I was looking at that, but that didn't pan out. Okay, all right, so what's the next trade looking like? What does Thursday and Friday look like? Well, to understand that, we need to get a global picture of what's going on. Remember what we talked about probably 3-4 weeks now. We're looking at PO3, aren't we? We said we've got the accumulation, we've got the manipulation, we've got that expansion. Well, we're back in business. Initially we had that rally down. We had that reaction there. And then we thought, could we be going down? But Bitcoin has said no. Bitcoin said we're back into this range. We retested the bottom of this range, and we may be looking to go up. Okay. Remember, guys, when we were over here, what did we say? We said the moment we broke this structure, we said this was the next target, which we met. And then we said after that, this was the next target. Then this was the next target. Then that would be the next target. Of course, I'm looking well into the future at the moment, but if we do manage to break above this range at 65,368, which we're in right now, if we burst above that range, man, we're back in. Not only would we be at, perhaps the premium section of our range, we're also looking to grab this nice curved liquidity where we can sweep stop losses, and we're back in business. All right, to the top of that range. Remember what ranges do. Ranges oscillate. Range low, range high. Range low, range high. And that's exactly where we are now. So what's going to stop price from getting up there? Well, the first thing is this current liquidity point that we're in right now. All right, so we can get rid of all of this. We can get rid of all of this because we don't need this anymore. All right, we have gotten two nice trades back to back off those zones. All right, so we can get rid of these guys. These are no longer relevant. No longer relevant. All right, I guess this zone is relevant. This is our last demand zone, before that break. This is a very relevant zone, so I'm just going to mark that out. But anyways, let's talk price action. Let's talk our next trades. We've blasted through this zone, so we can get rid of that. All right, well, where are we? Well, in terms of our structure, this becomes our new range, where we've got range high, we've got a range low, and we've just rotated back to the top of our range. So we are here looking for a reaction, a potential rotation down. But is this looking likely? Well, I would argue not. It's not looking likely, is it? Look how aggressive that bar is in the 8 hour. Look what's to follow. Look how aggressive that is. That was almost filled to the top. All right. That's quite an aggressive move up. The chances are we could potentially just break out of this range. All right, so let's analyze this on a lower time frame. On a 4 hour, still looking quite full. On a 2 hour, we're getting more breaking up bars, so that means we're slowing structure. That's fine. On a 1 hour, we've just peaked above that level. On a 1 hour, we do have this nice red dot on the market side for showing us we are at a potential top. Okay, but what I need to see here to get on a short, what I need to see here to short this range high is to get a clear market structure change. Remember, no change, no trade. So what do I need to do? I need to look at the market structure on the way up. High, high, low, high, 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 low, and we've got one sweep up. Okay, so on a 15-minute, this becomes a level we need to break before we talk about a short. That's on a 15-minute, or let's look on a 12-minute. Okay, well, on a 12-minute, we have more definite structure. That means our last high low on the 12-minute is actually coming in at around 64,569. All right, so on the 10-minute, do we have more structure on the 10? Yes, we do, just slightly higher. All right, on the 5-minute, do we have structure on the 5-minute? Okay, now this structure is looking kind of wishy-washy at the moment. Look at this, it kind of looks like one sideways extension. All right, like looks like a really weirdly shaped flag, doesn't it? Okay, but on the 5-minute, where is our structure? Well, on a 5-minute, actually, we've got our last high low over there, so that's where I'm looking to break on the 5-minute. That's going to tell me, all right, cool, the market's changing direction at that point. That's also going to tell me, all right, we could potentially be looking to sweep all this liquidity. This is a juicy liquidity level, which does mean we can drop quickly. All right, so I'm going to be looking for this on the 5-minute, and if I get that, I'm going to enter that short and write that down at least back to this gray box. Okay, so that's what I'm looking out for. So I'm going to put short number 1 there anyways, even though I don't think it's that likely, but we're going to have to follow the structure to see what the structure does. All right, don't forget, this is a simple range model 1. All right, and this is something I teach in bootcamp, and this is something obviously the students I work with know very, very well. So this is a range number 1, and we're looking to see whether that's going to play out. If it does play out, just to let you guys know, this is going to be a very steep drop. This will not be a slow drop because this is a very steep move up as well. Remember, easy up, easy down, easy down, easy up. All right, so what's stopping Bitcoin, all right, from heading towards those all-time highs? The next thing stopping Bitcoin is this 8-hour supply zone, key zone. Now, this would have been a great zone if this was just slightly lower. All right, if this was, let's say, around here, this would have been beautiful, because what would have happened perhaps is we would have wicked into that zone, created that nice transition in market structure, broken structure, retraced, pulled back into the zone, and then that would have created a juice we needed to flush all the way down. However, that's wishful thinking. We don't have that, so we can't quite do that. All right, so our next obstacle in Bitcoin's way, in Bitcoin's rally to $1 million, is that 8-hour zone, and that 8-hour zone is coming in at 66,499. Okay, so there we have it. That's what we're looking out for. So where am I going to look out for my next short? Well, we've got short number one here, which I think is kind of unlikely based on the way structure is looking, but anything can happen. We can get that transition in market structure. However, it looks like we're breaking up. All right. But if we do break past that level, I'm going to be looking at that zone. It would be silly not to watch that zone, because that zone has been there for ages. And not only has it been up for ages, let's see, how was the zone created? That zone was created, all right, off of a nice turning point from a prior range. And the reaction off of that zone was quite aggressive, which means this could be a very key level. This could be a level where we've got lots of high volume players or whales looking to fill their unfilled orders. All right, so that transition was quite prompt. We did spend a bit more time in the zone than I would have liked to see. However, it's still a zone we have to watch out for. What are we watching out for? A change in market structure. Also, market cipher is going to be doing its thing. All right, it's going to be giving you that nice bearish divergence. All right, so make sure you're looking out for that. All right, so those are our next two long options. If you want to ride this wave all the way to, $1,000. Now, if you do want to carry on a continuation long, where would be your next zone? So for that continuation long, well, we have to think about, where is our next little bit of demand? Our next demand is coming in at around 63,404. It's a big demand. It's a massive range demand. So that would be our next zone, perhaps. But if you did want more refined levels, well, I can already clearly see that we have a decent order block here. So we have a decent demand zone inside of that, and that's a 45-minute demand zone. So we could look to have a more refined, entry if we come down to that zone, okay? And not only could that happen, let's see what the volume is saying within that zone. So if we take a pull from, the range high up to when we break structure, yes, we've got a value area high coming in at that zone as well. So nice bit of confluence we've got there. Okay, so this zone is quite strong. You may want to push this down to cover the POC. That's completely up to you. But the moment we get into that zone, we need to be looking out for our alert. So what am I going to do? I'm going to set alert number one over here. Add alert. I'm going to set alert number two up there. Add alert. And alert number three up there. So I want to know what price does when we get to those levels. All right. So that's it. That's all I'm looking at for Bitcoin. In the case we do fly up, well, let's see if we break up all the way up. Are we going to get that retest and continue further up? That's something to watch. All right. So there we have it. We'll leave it there for today. We'll see you tomorrow. Don't forget to hit that follow button, and I will see you tomorrow.